So as you can tell by the title of this video, we bought a Casita. Specifically, we bought a Casita 17-foot Spirit Standard. We've actually been talking about buying another trailer for a little while. Actually, ever since we bought the four-wheel camper, I thought, you know, it would be great to just tow like a little trailer behind it. At first, my thought was, well, it could be a really small single axle, like a 12, 13-foot trailer. Everywhere we went, I was kind of keeping my eye out for like a little bowler or a little 13-foot Casita, like one of those burros or scamps. And what we found out by just looking is that these trailers are really desirable. And I sort of knew that, sort of in the back of my mind, even though in the past we've never really been seriously looking for one. So over time, I just kind of got this idea that after we're done traveling in Mexico and Canada in 2016, come 2017, we'll be back in the US again doing some more exploring. Rather than getting the Airstream back from where we're currently having it stored in Ojai, why not just get a smaller trailer so it can still have the abilities of going off-road, going to farther and deeper places down a dirt road without worrying about a giant 7,000-pound trailer towing behind us. The four-wheel camper that we've been living in for the last 15 months is a great vehicle. We're keeping it. We're just adding this trailer in addition to it to gain some more capabilities. Interestingly enough, between this trailer, a 17-foot Casita, and what we have in the four-wheel camper, which is an 8-foot four-wheel camper with a cab over, we're back to about 25 feet again, which is what our Airstream is. The overall length compared to our former truck plus the Airstream compared to what we have now, we're about 10 foot still shorter overall. So, and lighter by a good amount, because the four-wheel camper is 1,200 pounds, the Casita is 2,500 pounds. That only adds up to about 3,700 pounds, plus all of our stuff. And our stuff, from since we're in the Airstream until now, has been downsized even quite a bit more. This is really what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks since we left California. We first went to Mexico for another week to hang out with Marlene's parents. And then when we got back, we headed west. We went through Arizona, New Mexico, and then into Texas. And we went to Rice, Texas, where Casitas are made. We had one on order. They're very desirable, like I mentioned before, so it's really difficult to find a used one. And when you find a used one, they are almost as much as a new one. For example, we saw some 3-4-year-old Casitas that were only about 10% less than what it would cost to buy a new one. Then you may ask, well, why would anybody buy a used one? Well, obviously, for a $20,000 trailer, 10% is still $2,000. So that's pretty significant. But at the same time, even if you wanted to buy a new one, they're about 5 months behind from when you order one to when you can get one delivered. So when we first looked into it, we obviously didn't want to wait, you know, those 5 months. And we looked at other options too. We looked at, obviously, you know, we love Airstreams, so we looked at vintage Airstreams. Like a 16-foot vintage Airstream, single axle, will be about this size, this weight. With vintage Airstreams, the smaller they are, the more desirable they are. And in this price range, you would only be able to get one that is, it wouldn't be a turnkey vehicle. It would be pretty much just the shell, and you have to still build it out. It would take about 4 to 6 months to build one to our spec. That's assuming we're able to find a vintage Airstream. We actually looked and we found a couple of good options, but after a while we realized we're probably going to end up spending twice as much in the vintage Airstream. We would probably lose 6 months of traveling while redoing it, and it just didn't make sense. It was better for us to find either a used Casita or find a way to get a new Casita that wouldn't take 5 months long. So we called up Casita Factory, and they were actually able to fit us in. Somebody that had one on order was willing to switch with us because they didn't need it in February. They were willing to take delivery later on because they're probably, you know, like a lot of people, their traveling season is in the summer. So a lot of people were willing to take delivery later on, even though they placed their order well before us. So we only had to wait 2 months to get ours built, which worked out really well because we ended up getting a model that's not very common. By the way, all the Casitas are sort of custom made. They don't have any dealerships around the country. They're all order through the factory, and they're all either picked up at the factory or you pay to have them ship it to wherever you are. Ours is called the Casita 17 Spirit Standard. The Spirit model is very popular, but the ones that you see are Spirit Deluxe models, which have the bed, the dinette, actually this is also a dinette, and a bathroom on the other side with a hanging closet. We found out you can get the Casita 17 in a standard model, which means you eliminate the bathroom and the hanging closet and you get a bunk bed instead, which for us was perfect. Because in the four-wheel camper, we got totally used to not having a shower and not having a bathroom, just using a portable toilet that we just empty out into a standard residential toilet and it just flushes. So we would much rather have the extra space than to have a full-time toilet taking up all the space. We gained some more capabilities by not having to rely on RV infrastructure. In the last 15 months, we haven't had to dump any black tanks because the four-wheel camper doesn't have any black tanks. We just take our toilet, either we find a vault toilet at a gas station or any public restroom. We can just dump it into the toilet. That to us now is a flexibility that we're not quite ready to give up. In the four-wheel camper, we don't have an AC unit. In places where it gets really hot, we really have to either avoid those places or rent a house, which is what we had to do when we were down in Oaxaca back in May of 2016. With this Casita, it comes with an AC unit. Unlike the Airstream, this AC can run off of just a 20 amp plug. It's a smaller space to cool down if it gets really hot out. And two, we don't need to be at an RV park. So being able to travel in all 4 seasons was an important thing for us. We can kind of have this as the base camp while we explore deeper into the woods or in the desert or in places where maybe the truck is capable but not a truck and a trailer. So during the week, this will be a really good place for us to kind of hunker down, get work done, get school done, and on the weekends, go explore. And if we need to drop the trailer to go explore deeper, we can still do that. So with that said, let me give you a tour of what this trailer looks like inside and out. We're gonna have Marlene give us a tour of the new Casita. By the way, we call it the Mishita. Get it? The Molly Mishita?
The Casita?
Casita? Mishita? Anyways. Alright, let's go from the outside. You can kind of tell us the options that we ordered.
Okay.
And what's unique about our model, because it is one of the less common models.
Right. So this is a 2017 Casita. We just picked it up a few days ago. It is 17 feet long, and it is the Spirit Standard model.
The normal one is the Deluxe.
The Deluxe. We have the Standard.
It's actually cheaper than the Deluxe, but we opted for it because it's the only one that can sleep 5 people.
Right. Some of the options that we added on is a Fiamma awning.
Mm-hmm.
We also added a furnace, and we also opted for the 1.5-inch lift that they can do at the factory.
The high lift axle.
Yeah, so that's the AC unit.
Oh, we also opted without the graphics.
Oh yeah, no
Usually
graphics.
have the Casita graphics, which, you know, it's not a big deal, but they actually gave us the graphics that we can put on later if we want.
We opted for a hot water heater, which we don't have in the 4-wheel camper.
Yeah,
so we
that's
have that
been nice.
Electric or propane. Yeah,
so different than our Airstream, it's just propane. So this one we can actually have hot water without using the propane if we had a place with hookups.
We have a storage compartment for 1 battery.
Yep.
That's all that can fit. Upgraded our water tank to a 25 gallon from
fresh water tank.
Yeah. Instead of 18.
I think that's right. And 25 gallon plus the 20 gallon in our truck camper gives us 45 gallons.
Plus this jug.
extra jug for just filling up extra water.
We have an outdoor shower. Since we have hot water as an option, then we can take showers outside in a little tent room that we have as an option for us. 2 barbecue-sized propane bottles in here. What is that, 10?
20 pounders.
20 pound each.
Yep.
And since we have the standard model, which is less common, we actually have a window here, which you won't see on most casitas. And there's actually a cover that goes over here as a rock guard, so it won't crack the tempered glass.
Yep.
Okay, let's go inside.
Go inside.
Okay, so this is what makes this the standard model, is usually there's a wet bath here with a closet, a hanging closet here, but we didn't opt for the deluxe. What we opted for is a standard that has a bunk bed, which converts into a
Couch.
A sofa.
With storage underneath instead. But that's nice because it's a perfect place to store a little portable toilet.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is put a little hole there, a cat door, for this little lady.
Wake up.
So she'll have private bathroom. Unlike in the truck camper, we didn't have a...
Or unlike us,
we don't have a private... Well, we have the truck
private.
camper now that we can use as a private bathroom if we want.
Okay, so our oldest sleeps up here. She's 10.
It's pretty sturdy.
Yeah, it's sturdy. She just had to get used to...
Not falling. I mean, she's old enough to not fall off, I think.
So I think she'll be okay.
That's why she's up here, because I think our 2 younger ones
Yeah, they would roll
are probably
off.
not quite ready for being in the top bunk without a guardrail.
Right. And so our middle kid sleeps down here.
Probably the most secure one with these jail bars,
Right.
which
She won't
supports
fall.
one side of the top bunk.
And this is where our youngest sleeps, which is also a 2-person dinette. So this drops down to here. These cushions would go in that place, and then his bedding would just go on top. So that's how we can sleep 3 kids in here.
And this is really long. This is actually like a bed for an adult. So he only comes up about 2/3 of this length. But he
Right.
likes to be close to his mama.
We can hold hands. So this is our bed. So this is a larger dinette. I think we could fit like 6 people.
I mean, all 5
Around
of
it.
us in the morning sometimes will be crammed on there.
Yeah. I mean the dinette. The dinette
Oh,
is
to
a
sit.
pretty- to
Oh,
sit,
yeah, for sure.
So the dinette is large.
You can
It's-
sit 3 on each side, 3 adults on each side, I think.
it's bigger
if
than-
you're good friends.
I think it's larger than the Airstream or the 4-wheel camper. You
Definitely.
can fit more people in here.
What's cool about the Casita 17s, both the Spirit, which is this one, and the Freedom model, is they offer 2 dinettes in such a small camper. Because there's not a permanent bed, so you can make that a permanent bed and just use this dinette if you're just a couple or like a couple with a young kid.
Right. There's the dinette. So I think we're gonna leave this as our bed. So in the mornings we can take Luca off of here, our youngest. He can go in the bed with us, and then I can set this up quickly for you to work or eat breakfast in the morning.
Right, which is one of the big things we were missing in the truck camper is no table
Right.
in the morning, and we didn't like converting the main dinette that much.
Yeah, because
So we
all
didn't
this
end up doing it.
bedding would have to go where the kids' bed was, and it was
Yeah.
just. We made it work and it was fine.
Yeah.
But just when the weather's not good, it's harder.
Right.
We have a pretty decent sized Dometic refrigerator and freezer in here. You can see. It's a pretty good size.
It's a good size freezer. Almost as big as the Airstream one, I think.
Yeah.
And it's 3-way, so it'll go DC, AC, and gas. But what's nice is that we can switch it to DC when we get our solar system set up on the roof and not have to burn our propane when we're boondocking.
Right.
Just be fully renewable energy on the fridge. What I like about this setup too is this door folds down. There's some that's kind of what we're using for our pantry. This folds down and this becomes like a counter space. It's pretty sturdy. It's got these rubber boots so it doesn't hurt the counter. You can put a decent amount of weight here. So even though the kitchen doesn't have that much or really hardly any counter space, you can use this as counter space. And also this works well at the level for me as a stand-up desk. So I can stand here and work. Or alternatively, I could stand over the bunk bed and put the computer over here and work. And have a view of whatever is out that window.
We also have a small sink.
That's probably about the same size sink as we got in the four-wheel camper.
Mm-hmm. This faucet is taller, so we can fit more under it. And we also have a two-burner here. And this is a cool little feature. You can see there's a little mechanism here that holds the range cover in place, and it acts as a splash guard.
Right, that was an option actually.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise, if you cook stuff, like all the grease and oils would just splash over to your bed.
Right.
Which would not be good.
This is our heater, our furnace.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the thermostat is located. We have a hood light and a fan.
There's a range hood, which we don't have in the four-wheel camper.
Right, so that's nice. Oh, so this is our air conditioner. That also is like a heat pump. Heat pump.
And it runs off of 20 amps.
Right.
So we don't need to have 30 amp hookups.
Right. So we can just use a regular extension cord.
And our fancy new Max fan.
Oh, yeah.
Ceiling fan with, so you can do blow in or blow out. And it has a fancy remote control. First one of these we've ever had. We've only ever had Fantastic fans.
Yeah.
So this one has got the new fan cover on the roof, where you can leave it open all the time. Unlike the Fantastic fans, where you got to put a cover on it if you want to leave your vent open all the time. Not as much storage as we thought.
Yeah, that's the most surprising thing is we don't have a lot of storage.
I mean, there's a lot of these cubbies all around the top, which is nice, but these don't go real deep. You know, they just go
curves.
Yeah, so, and under these, I mean, it's enough storage for a couple people, a small family. But for 5 people, it's not that much storage.
Right, especially if you full-time expect to use your tow vehicle as storage.
Yeah.
And it only comes with one 12-volt plug.
Yeah, so
we have to add some more, but that's working.
we have to do some mods for the electrical system. They did a pre-wire for solar though, so that's kind of neat.
I think that's usually there. I think you can get like a TV stand as an option.
Right, so the TV would have gone in that corner, and that would have been the outlet for powering the TV. It's very simple in the way that they made all this stuff. They didn't make it complicated, which I really like. But it also being so rudimentary, there's not a lot of the nice things that you find in some of the more advanced trailers. For example, there is no monitor to see how much water or electricity you have left.
Right.
To see water, you literally go outside, you open up a compartment, and you can see the water tank on the side, and literally just see where the water level is at by seeing through the water tank. And
there's nothing to tell us electricity is on when you plugged in at a campground.
Right.
We just have to plug something in.
One of the way you can do it is to have the fridge be on auto mode. So if it flips to AC, that means the power's on. But usually it takes a few seconds. Or you can just have like a night light plugged into one of the 120 volt outlets.
Right.
And that could tell us.
Everything's carpeted here.
Yeah, so they use carpet. The material they use is this carpet with this built-in kind of foam insulation that's attached to the carpet. You can actually see it right here because the spray adhesive they use, like, for some reason didn't stick right here. So you can see how much insulation is behind it. We just kind of fold this back. So we're gonna need to spray some headliner spray adhesive back in here and glue this back up, which this is kind of a bummer that it happened so quickly. 4 or 5 days in, that came off. But we know at least two or three other people with Casitas that haven't experienced that. So really, that's what we've been up to. We've been trying to plan for this sort of quote-unquote upgrade for the last few months now, and it's finally kind of come to fruition. we're looking forward to the next few months, sort of getting used to this camper, making some mods. We'll be making a lot of videos about the mods that we're doing. One of the first few things we'll do is we're gonna put another 3-inch lift on it. They're just basically a 3-inch block that goes above the axle. That'll give us a little bit more ground travel. We're gonna swap out the factory stabilizer jacks with some more heavy-duty scissor jacks. Shortly after that, we're gonna add a couple 100 watts of solar, and that should kind of get us to where we want to be comfortably to be able to go on boondock. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.